Hello and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren and today I am looking at a video from a channel called From Here to There. It is the top 10 creepiest small towns in America. This was suggested by one of our channel members, so here I go. Looking forward to it. You know, like I said, I like the spooky stuff. Give me some spooky stuff. I've got a couple of other things planned for today that are also in the spooky season. And I'm looking forward for filming those as well. But for starting out, number one, top 10 creepiest small towns in America. So, I mean, there's at least one that I've heard of before that is this tiny little town. I think it's in West Virginia probably. And it's just in the woods and there was a murder there. And I don't remember anything else about it, but we shall see.
PSA, stay away from these small towns at all
That was
costs.
loud.
We've all been to that one rundown town where the vibe just seemed off. The people are strange and there's this weird feeling in the air. There are a lot of creepy towns in America, especially once you get into the more rural areas. But most don't compare to these. You really should avoid going to any of these places unless you absolutely have to. Some have a dark history.
Or alternatively, you go to them so that you can get some hauntings happening.
And are reportedly haunted by ghosts if you
Yes,
believe in
let's
that
go see
stuff.
some ghosts.
And if you don't, well,
I don't.
the paranormal honestly would seem like pleasant company compared to the residents of some of these towns. From abandoned buildings to cults and drugs to gruesome murders, darkness and oddities loom throughout their streets. The following
Fun.
places really should be avoided at all costs. But if you're a crazy adventurer wanting to ignore my warnings, or just interested in seeing how strange America can be, then be sure to listen to my top 10 creepiest towns in the United States. Number 10, Whittier, Alaska. How would you feel if your entire...
You know what? I would be surprised if there's not at least two from Alaska on here. Alaska's huge. It's full of little small towns. Lots of old mining places that have gone put extinct. I feel like there's probably a lot of creepy small towns in Alaska.
city lived, worked, and spent their free time in the same building. What if they never left? Well, that's life for the 208 residents living in the small port town of Whittier, Alaska. The only way you can escape, or enter, if you dare, is by boat or through a single, highly regulated one-lane tunnel. It closes often and unexpectedly. When it is open, you're only allowed to enter every half hour. Fortunately, you don't need to go through the inconvenience of leaving your building, since this single 14-story structure, Begitch Towers, has everything a town could need, from a grocery store to a post office to apartments you can call home. All in the same building. You really do never need to leave. And most people don't during the winter. Just imagine the isolation. What's even more...
I would imagine that they would have community events and stuff, right? As long as you don't hate all of your neighbors, as long as you're not the worst person ever and everybody hates you, then you have a built-in community at least. I mean, kind of gets sketchy when it comes to finding love.
More unsettling is that although the people have lived this way for generations, this is actually a new building. But the old building they all used to live in is still there too, on a hill, dilapidated, crumbling, and fenced off. Never to be entered. Outside of Begitch Towers, the town just seems barren, abandoned, and creepy. While cruise ships do come through here in the summer, very few visitors make the trek during the winter, when the town stays dark for over 18 hours a day, making Whittier feel incredibly lonely and isolated. Number 9. Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Upon arrival, it isn't hard to see why the town's most infamous citizen, the creepy humanoid moth-like figure known as Mothman, called Point Pleasant home.
I mean, are they going to show us his butt? He's got a good butt in this statue.
No one knows who or what he was, but his supposed flights over the streets during the 1960s are only a recent occurrence in a town deeply rooted in darkness. It all began on the 10th of October, 1774. The Shawnee tribe bravely fought the new American settlers for the land that they both called home. The Americans barely managed to overcome the tactics of the Shawnee chief Cornstalk. Eventually, Cornstalk, his son, and close friends came to negotiate with the Americans in an effort to avoid future battles. But the Americans captured and executed them all. Just before he
Right.
died,
Good
Cornstalk
job, guys.
called upon the Great Spirit to curse
hope
the
you
land for
cursed them.
200 years as vengeance for the injustice done
Only
to him and his
200
people.
years? He should have gone longer. Definitely deserved to do much longer, sir. That was a weak ass curse. Come on. They deserved worse.
Whether you believe in curses or not, 2 devastating floods ruined the town, followed by a destructive fire.
I mean,
Later, an
It sucks for everybody who wasn't part of that murder party, but
airplane carrying the Marshall University football team and their coach tragically crashed
that's-
here as well, killing
that's like sucks for the team though. They didn't do anything.
all 75 people on board. In 1967, the Silver Bridge, which connected the town to Ohio, collapsed, killing 46. Then, in 1978, a freight train derailed and spilled toxic chemicals into the city's water supply. Not to mention the apparent Men in Black and UFO activity in the area. The town is even cursed by a name it could never live up to. If you visit Point Pleasant today, you'll definitely feel something strange in the air. And it's not just Mothman. The real mystery is, why do people keep living here? Number 8,
Because of
Villisca,
Mothman.
Iowa. On the surface, Villisca looks like your normal, quiet, small Midwest town. But that only makes everything that I'm about to tell you even creepier. Over 100 years ago, the Villisca Axe murders of 1912 traumatized the town, which hasn't recovered since. The murders took place between the evening of June 10th and early morning June 11th, 1912, when 8 people were discovered dead at Josiah and Sarah Moore's house. The 6
Yes,
members of the
okay.
Moore
I have heard about this. And again, I heard about this because of Shane Madej and Ryan Bergara. I don't remember if it was a BuzzFeed Unsolved episode or if it was a Watcher Ghost Files episode, but I definitely, the name.
family and their 2 house guests were found bludgeoned. Even the 4 children had severe head wounds from an axe. Although a lengthy investigation yielded several suspects, one of whom was tried twice, the crime remains unsolved. An air of uneasiness
So probably
envelops the
BuzzFeed
town
Unsolved,
today.
then.
Perhaps because its residents never quite felt safe, knowing a ruthless murderer freely roamed their streets. Today, the town is run down, and although tourists can spend the night in the Moore House, I don't know why anyone would want to. One traveler who passed through here recounts, "It did feel eerie and I felt unwelcome. Even the flies were more annoying there." Perhaps that's why no civilization settled nearby.
Interesting.
Even though there are 1,200 people currently living in the town, the nearest restaurant or grocery store other than their gas station is 15 miles away.
Oh my God, that's
Number
sucks.
7,
Get away
Centralia,
from there.
Pennsylvania.
Move somewhere
Centralia
else.
has been on fire for decades.
Oh.
Yes, you heard me right. On fire. The blaze began in
Yeah, I heard
1962
about
with a
this one.
trash fire in a strip mine beneath the town. That unassuming little flame ignited an eternal hellish blaze that burns underground to this day. And each year, it grows by 75 feet in every direction.
Oh,
the
dang.
town has been barricaded from the outside to prevent people from driving onto the collapsing roads, which
Yeah.
are a danger even on foot. Sinkholes constantly and randomly appear, eager to swallow unsuspecting victims.
Oh my
and where
God.
there aren't sinkholes, there are random spurts of smoke that can kill you upon inhaling the fumes.
Dang.
This one
Okay.
might sound like
Yeah, I don't want to be there. I don't want to go. Like, some of these places, I'm like, it could be fun to just like go ghost hunting, even though I don't believe in ghosts, but it would be fun to like go ghost hunting. Here, nope. Actually, no.
something out of a video game or horror movie. And
Yeah, very
well,
Silent Hill.
That's because it is. The Silent Hill franchise is based on this town, and it's a tragic story. The population of once 3,000 residents has now decreased to just 10 according to the last US Census.
They stayed when there's smoke that will just like pop up out of nowhere and maybe give them a full-on face of noxious fumes. They stayed. Pourquoi?
But nobody knows if those 10 people still live in the death trap today. Of the 400 to 500 buildings that once stood in this flourishing town, only 5 remain. And I honestly don't know why anyone would want to still live here.
There's
I mean,
no way,
just
right?
look at the place.
Maybe some homeless people or something, but like, because it's a house.
Number 6, Broadhead, Wisconsin. Broadhead is a town haunted by many dark and twisted tales. The first known haunting began after 2 men brutally murdered a helpless woman whose ghost supposedly now roams the bridge that she died on. And that
Good for
isn't the
her.
only tragedy that darkens the city. A fire claimed the life of a little girl who apparently now haunts the building she burned to death in. As if that isn't bad enough, Broadhead residents have recounted numerous haunting encounters with various ghosts all over the town. Perhaps because of another tragedy that happened at what is now called Hell's Playground, where children were murdered by a mentally ill man. Many reports of eeriness and even...
Oh, okay. It's the colloquial name for it. I was like, you called it Hell. I mean, look, I've had beer called Hell's Lager, but it's an E on the end of the L, you know? But that's just the colloquial name. All right. I grew up in Baltimore. We had, like, Lincoln Park was called Murder Park. Like, the joke there was if you want to bury your body there, you have to have a secondary location picked out because wherever you choose it first, we'll already have a body there. Haha, Baltimore. But
the faint sound of children chanting have been made. And even if you don't believe in ghosts, the town here still feels creepy. Perhaps in part due to the old decaying architecture mixed with extremely religious people and lots of meth addiction. Broadhead just isn't a pleasant place to go through.
Oh my God, that's like triple whammy right there. Crumbling architecture, religion, and meth. That will definitely make any place feel creepy.
Number 5, Cairo, Illinois. This once booming metropolis sits conveniently at the confluence of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. The amazing location brought it great economic success in the early 20th century, but eventually also became its demise. The Great Mississippi Flood of 1927 amassed...
This looks like the same flood that he showed us before, from a different angle. Like reversed, maybe. Is this the same flood that he just showed us with the cursed town? I think it is. Okay, so I'm just checking my timestamp here. 7:50. Yeah, it is. Look at that.
Spirit to curse the land for 200 years as vengeance for the injustice done to him and his people. Whether you believe in curses or not, 2 devastating floods...
See? That's the same building. He just reversed the footage. I can't trick me. All right. See? Same building. Just a... Can't fool me on that one.
Amassed tragedy here. And soon thereafter, many who once called it home eagerly left once rivers were no longer necessary for trade. It quickly became a ghost town. The population has been reduced to a mere 3,000 residents. Those who remain live amongst the corroding ruins of what was once a great city, now overgrown with weeds. What's even worse is that it's a town ruined by its own hate and spite. Many white-owned businesses chose to go out of business instead of integrating during the civil rights movement. And even as recently as 1967, lynchings were held here. It's no wonder so many were quick to abandon the town.
Yeah,
crime runs rampant here, and just walking through the streets honestly feels like something out of The Walking Dead. Number 4. Antelope, Oregon. Oregon. Drive about 20 minutes outside of any city and you're guaranteed to find some total weirdness. I mean, this thing, the Temple of Oculus Anubis, is just outside of Portland. Ooh. But out of all Oregon's cultish, creepy, and strange towns...
I mean, I guess it makes sense that Gravity Falls is based there, huh?
Antelope is by far the creepiest. Okay. I mean, the people here live with actual deer on their porches.
That's not that weird. That's not that weird. I mean, I basically grew up with deer on my porches. Like, again, like I said, I grew up near Baltimore. But like where I lived, there was the wood, like there was like the woods reservoir was right there. So like there was a ton of deer. So many deer. Oh my God. My mom had to like do what the lengths she went to protect her garden from the deer and like the squirrels and chipmunks, but mostly the deer was the main problem. They were everywhere. They didn't leave us alone.
Major weird red flag. But maybe they just didn't get the memo since they don't have any modern technology or much communication with the outside world at all. Now, you're probably wondering the same thing I was. Why do these people live with deer? Well, in 1981, a mystic guru guy from India known as Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh bought 65,000 acres of land just 18 miles outside Antelope. And let me tell you, Oregon had no idea what was coming. It wasn't long before thousands of his followers had infiltrated the town of Antelope with their cultish ideals and eventually even voted to rename the town after Rajneesh. But taking over Antelope wasn't enough. Members of the cult began poisoning everything from restaurant salad bars to water supplies of nearby towns and even Portland and Salem. They also tried to murder several public officials. A global manhunt eventually collapsed the cultic commune, but needless to say, the town of Antelope never quite recovered. It's a ghost town, full of decaying, empty storefronts. Only 49 people remain here as of the last US Census, many resiliently still following their cultic ways.
So are they still trying to frickin' poison people? Because it's like, I wouldn't have minded as a kid having a little deer that was my friend. I wanted to be Snow White, you know? That's what I wanted. I would have loved that, but the rest of it, absolutely no.
Living with their deer. Number 3. Colorado City, Arizona. The misleading name isn't half as misleading as the beliefs of the fundamentalist Mormon cult gone rogue that lives here. It all started when Warren Jeffs, a leader of the church, convinced followers in this desert town that technology was satanic and everyone outside of their cult was possessed by Satan. So
oh yeah, that makes sense. I have an aunt who basically believes that. I mean, not necessarily the technology thing, but during the pandemic, she said that if you wore a mask, you were part of Satan's army. I wanted a button that said that. I really wanted to make a button that said member of Satan's army because of her. People be like that.
Members of this cult needed to keep their bloodlines pure and only marry within the commune. Yikes. Eventually, Jeffs was arrested for child molestation, but his ideals remain in the town. Though the rest of the world has moved on, Colorado City is stuck in the 1800s. From their traditional clothing to lack of technology and extreme hostility toward visitors and the entire outside world. Although the town is full of houses, they're mostly abandoned by the members of the cult who instead opt to live secretly in large compounds. The only obvious thing about their way of life is that young girls are forced into polyamorous relationships with much older men. But any other practices remain a mystery, and members of the cult make every effort to keep it that way. Number 2, Auburn, West Virginia. This is your typical
Again, I saw that church. I'm sure that's going to be a part, right? That's going to be a part of it.
Spooky Appalachian small town, of which there are a lot. But Auburn, West Virginia just might be the creepiest. Located right off of State Route 74, the town of 90 residents consists of a single street lined with shack-like houses. And the road comes to an abrupt...
Well, wait, okay. That's not fair. Look at those. That's actually really... If that's the house, if these are the houses...
consists of a single street line.
This is kind of like dilapidated.
With shack-like houses.
But if these are the houses, these are not shack-like. Those are cute. That's not an ugly. These are not ugly houses. I mean, it's kind of weird that they're all so similar, but with just different colors of roofs. But those are cute.
And the road comes
and big. I would not consider that is not a tiny a shack is a one room leaning off to one side, wood has been warped and rotted in places. These are not shack like houses. These are well maintained little bungalows.
To an abrupt end once it reaches the woods.
Okay, well that's weird. I mean, also it's a T intersection, right? We had one of those. We had one of those coming out of my neighborhood. Go down the street. Big old woods, and then two branched off into two different sides, and then one of the sides went down a very windy, twisty, kind of terrifying little road with a very terrifying bridge on it that eventually got shut down because the bridge has 25 years past inspection, darling. But it was a scary bridge, and it was so small, and as cars get bigger, y'all, there's certain cars should not be allowed on that road at all. Anything bigger than a minivan shouldn't be allowed on that road. And maybe even minivans shouldn't be allowed on that. You can't, the bridge is too small. It's 1.5 car lengths. So 2 Camrys could pass by on it, but nothing else. Anyway, haven't been there in 8 years, but still.
There's only one way in or out of the town. Why or how it got there is a mystery.
Go through the woods. The people that only one way if you're a coward, go through the woods.
Here are even more mysterious. A man on a motorcycle
trip
to victory.
No.
And the people that live here.
He's reading Claws by Ricky Sides. There's a big old cat. Why is he mysterious? He's just an old guy in a hat. He's got a gun, but he's reading a funny book. Like, I swear, the imagery just that what this guy's decided to use is so funny to me. Like when he's describing, he's going so dramatic, but it's like he's reading a book. Like, when did Claws by Ricky Sides come out? I'm gonna look at that. I'm like, if you wanted something mysterious, he needs to be reading like a leather-bound like tome of which you can't read the title. Claws by Ricky Sides. Let's look it up. It's got a 4.9 out of 5 on Goodreads. It's a post-apocalyptic horror novel by Ricky Sides about a genetically engineered cat food that causes cats to become larger, stronger, and extremely aggressive, leading to the widespread feline menace that threatens humanity. The story follows a group of survivors, including an unemployed scientist and a homeless veteran, and they fight to prevent catastrophe. Cat-tastrophe, I get it, except for I don't think that was on purpose. Which escalates to when the secret formula is stolen and sold to enemies. That's the book this man is reading. That is not mysterious. What the hell? Oh, that's so funny. Okay, and like the animal rights activists released the test cats, which are scheduled for euthanasia to the wild, so they're the cause. Okay, good job, animal rights activists. That's so funny. So 2010. It's like not that old of a book, but seriously. He could have. He's a mysterious old man reading a book about post-apocalyptic cats. Oh my god! Anyway,
here are even more mysterious.
Yes,
a man on a motorcycle trip through Appalachia accounts how he stumbled across the town, which was completely silent and seemingly empty. Not a soul in sight. After coming to the dead end at the edge of town, he was forced to turn around, and as he drove back through the town, dozens of people had suddenly materialized on the porches of their shack-like houses.
Well, yeah.
They stood motionless, silently watching him. He got...
Wouldn't you? Like, you have almost no one ever comes here. It's a one-way street, and then a big old motorcycle. So you hear this coming through your town. That's a weird thing. Like, I would come out and check. I do that a lot, actually. Like, I hear a weird noise outside, like a weird, I'm like, that's odd. This is why I'm gonna die in a horror movie. But like, actually, I usually like look out my window to try and see what the weird noises are first. But I'm just saying, like, you would. I feel like you would check that out. Something different happens. Everyone, when I was experienced a tornado again, living in Baltimore, which was so weird. It's the only real tornado I've ever experienced. Like, I've lived in Chicago for almost 10 years now, but like we've only had like 2 storms that people, there was a funnel cloud seen a few times around me, but like nowhere close to my neighborhood. So like when I was in Baltimore, there was a tornado and it was like touched down on my street. Like everybody had trees down. Like there was like trees that were ripped up from the woods near my house, just like empty spaces where there used to be lush verdant greenery. And like, I mean, I knew like several people who were 4 or 5 houses down from me, or like or a street over, and they went on their back porch and saw the funnel cloud. Like it was right there. And afterwards, after everything was kind of passed over, the entire neighborhood was just kind of like slowly like exiting their houses and like looking around, and we were all just kind of like wandering around like freaking ghosts, like trying to be like, that just happened. Like, I don't think it's that weird.
Got out of there fast.
Yes, I mean that would be weird to experience from the other side too, but still, I'm just saying, like, not so weird. Why is that number 2?
Number 1. Skidmore, Missouri. At first glance, you may see Skidmore as just another decaying small town that more and more people are leaving every year. But this town is a lot more depressing than that, especially when you know where it all started. Over 50 years ago, the notorious bully Ken McElroy blackmailed his way into a reign of terror over the town. He literally raped and pillaged the people there, forcing women as young as 12 into polygamous marriage. No one knew how to stand up to him, not even the police, until one day someone just shot him in front of the entire town. There was an intense legal investigation, but no one in the town would say a word. The authorities eventually gave up. Skidmore was finally peaceful. for a while. But in the
Okay.
year 2000, Wendy Gildenwater was stomped to death by her boyfriend. Some even say she was dragged on the streets hanging from the side of his car until she died. But that
Jesus.
wasn't the last of the town's nightmarish troubles. On December 16th, 2004, a pregnant 23-year-old, Bobby Jo Stinnett, was discovered by her mother, who told 911 operators that she looked like her stomach exploded. Upon autopsy, they found that the infant was cut out of her womb by another lady who decided she wanted a baby. For a town of just 250 residents, there
Oh
have been
my
an abnormally
God.
large amount of gruesome murders and disappearances. That's why Skidmore truly is the creepiest
Yeah,
town in
okay,
America.
fair.
But seriously, you probably don't want to visit any of the towns on this list. Besides Whittier, Alaska, which is actually quite nice in the summertime.
Ah, stop. I hate it when it
Avoid
does
the
that.
following places.
Stop. When I try to hit... All right. Anyway. Well, I disagreed with some of it. I feel like some of what he had to say there was a little bit... It's like, come on, think about it for a second. I don't think number 2 should have been on the list. I don't think that should have been there. There's other creepy towns. You could have used a different West Virginia town. The one that had that's like all these cabins in the woods, and it like actually has people who live there for real. It's sometimes people there for vacation. Sometimes they're there for, but some of them live there. Sometimes they go camping. Sometimes they live there. But that one should have been on the list. I need to remember what that one's called. I think it was the Ketty Cabin Murders from Ketty, California. So I would have, yes, yeah, it was the Ketty Cabin Murders. So like Ketty, but people live there for real. So I think that should have counted as a creepy town. I think I would have put that one in there instead of the second one on that list, which is it seems just like a little town. I really thought there was going to be like a religious cult or something in it, but no, there was not. It was just like, it's a town, little town, very small. One street ends in the woods. I'm sure that it didn't always, I'm sure that the bridge was there. So I'm sure that at one point there was a path through the woods, but people stopped using that path because the next town over changed, or it got overrun, or it disappeared, something, so there's no reason to use it anymore, and it grows over. I think, anyway, that second one should not have been on the list. And also I did catch him freaking trying to pull the wool over my eyes by using the same flood imagery twice, but he just flipped it. Anyway, in general, a fun video. So thanks for the suggestion. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye.